All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the S&P Sports Show. I'm your host, Shawn Stewart. It is October 27th, 2022. Glad to have you on this wonderful program as we are going to be previewing week 8 of the NFL, week 9 of the college football. And then, of course, we can't forget about the World Series and also fantasy football. So I'm joined with my co-host, Mr. Anthony Paulis. How are you doing, my friends? But at least I'm sounding better
Or
like I
do
did last week.
well, it's a whole new week. Some weeks you have ups, some weeks you have downs, and then you just pick yourself up and go right back up. So, just like the teams in the National Football League, they're up, they're down, they pick themselves back up, or maybe they just sink to the plummets of the earth, just like the Detroit Lions. But that's a whole nother story, as we'll get into
Yeah.
later in this show.
All right. So let us get started with tonight's game. That is the Thursday night football between the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which, of course, I did write the article and I posted it on the Sports for America website, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. But that's a subject for another video. But as I'm looking into this one, I'm like, you know what? When I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like they should take care of business against this Baltimore Ravens, especially their defense, because uh, when the Ravens face against like quarterbacks, they give up a lot of yards. You know what I mean? Because I did look that up. I was like, this is not going to be
This
great.
should
And
be a week. Yes, Sean, this should be a week where Tom Brady bounces back with his weapons and does some damage. Now, the question is, will he? Or the other thing is, maybe the some of his teammates have checked out and things don't happen, and you know, maybe this is the end of the Tampa Bay team in this era with a lot of talent on it. It shouldn't be, but this is a game that's a crossroads game for both of these teams because, the Ravens, if you think about it, they should realistically be 7-0 right now. They've blown 3 games with big leads. They could easily be undefeated right now. And then you have Tampa Bay at 3-4 coming off like 2 losses I can't
that
even
bad loss to
explain to
Denver.
Pittsburgh and Carolina and barely getting by Atlanta. Um, this team hasn't played good football in the last month. So,
Right.
you know, it's a pick 'em for me. I mean, I think the Buccaneers wide receivers will get their love. I think Mark Andrews, if he plays, hopefully bounces back,
He's questionable.
because he's dealing with that nagging injury, and they're going to need him tonight. Um, I don't know what wide receiver is going to step up for the Ravens, but damn, can somebody give Lamar Jackson some help? Somebody.
It's going to be
Somebody.
very trouble on Baltimore offensive core.
So, I mean, I think the Buccaneers got to be the favorites in this game, but man, if they play like they did last week, I mean, I'll take Tampa Bay. I think this game will be close, and I think will be some points put up by both teams.
And as a matter of fact, the time
We need
between
an exciting Thursday game, Sean. Sean, we need an exciting Thursday game. A
because the
game that's
previous week were
close, that isn't
terrible.
either low scoring or an interception fest. We need a good, competitive Thursday night game. Because I'll just flat out say it, the Thursday night games this season, for the most part, have sucked. Sucked
Right.
with a capital
Especially
S.
Indianapolis and Denver.
It just hasn't been
Especially
entertaining.
Indianapolis and Denver.
What they should
Right.
do is
And
just
I'm
go to Lions. What they should do, Sean, is just put the Lions on every Thursday night.
because like if it's on Thursday Night Football, the local networks can actually broadcast that game, even though it's on Amazon. It's
Yeah.
not on the NFL
Then you
network.
wouldn't have to spend the rest of the country wouldn't have to see just how bad the Lions are.
Right. And
But
then
Amazon would
also
probably be losing a lot of money off of it. But that's a whole nother story.
right. And then the Buccaneers, they're tied for 27th in the red zone efficiency, and that's like a lack of weapons. And Fournette should have a touchdown in tonight's game. He should, like more than he should have like
He
two touchdowns.
should. That red zone efficiency has to improve, and that's kind of a shocking statistic. That's a very un-Tom Brady-like stat. So,
And then also the Ravens, with their defense, they're like 26 against the pass, and they're 23rd overall.
yeah, well, the passing
That's why
defense is a big reason why that defense is ranked 23rd. The run defense isn't that bad, but that pass defense is awful.
Exactly.
Should be a close game. I'm thinking in the mid to high 20s.
Because if you think
I
about
don't
it,
know
this is
who's
kind
going
of
to
like a do
win,
or die for
Shawn.
the Buccaneers.
I think it's a big game for both teams. I mean, if Tampa Bay loses, they go to 3-5. I mean, the Ravens are what, 4-3? So if they lose, then they're at 4-4.
Yeah. Ravens are 4-3, so they'll be 4-4.
Yeah, so like I said, this game is big for both teams and their playoff hopes.
Especially in Tampa's situation, and of course, last year Baltimore didn't make it to the playoffs.
I mean, you wouldn't think that this game would have this much meaning. But, man, there's a lot on the line tonight for both of these teams. Lots.
Yes, it is.
I don't, if you asked me at the beginning of the season, would this game have this much implication? I would tell you no. It probably won't.
Right.
But here we are, lo and behold, and look.
Exactly. Now, here's another one. Now, there's going to be an early game on Sunday. There's a game that is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Denver Broncos. Now, for those of you who have not heard, this is the first NFL game in Germany. And that will be on ESPN Plus, for those of you who want to know about that. So, yes, you got to go to ESPN Plus to watch that game. And it's going to be Steve Levy doing that game as well in Germany.
Well, big question in this game is Russell Wilson going to play? He made the trip. Doesn't mean he's going to play. I mean, we'll see if he plays. That's the question. Is he going to play? If not, then the backup Mark Rippon's kid, Brian Rippon's going to play. I mean, didn't really look like that much of a difference between him playing and Russell Wilson playing, to be honest. The defense, Broncos defense is all right. But, I mean, Jacksonville's not a bad team. I mean, that record is, it's not a truthful indication. I mean, that team's got some talent. I got to take the Jaguars in this game. I mean, I saw this Jaguars team beat the brakes off the Chargers. And the Broncos right now are playing just as bad as the Raiders are in that division. So, and they lost to the Raiders. So, I'll take the Jaguars.
All right.
I think Travis Etienne will, now that he's the man at running back, will put up some points, and I think the biggest question is if Denver loses this game, does Jerry Jeudy get traded before the trade deadline Tuesday?
Because that's a very interesting question, because I did saw something like that before I even came back home.
I mean, I think we're going to see more trades than normal, and we kind of already, have seen some trades like today. I mean, I think teams are going to bolster up, because it's kind of cluttered there. I think the Rams are going to make a move before Tuesday. They have to. The Packers normally do not make moves before the deadline. Are they going to be tempted to make a move at 3-4? Most likely 3-5 after Tuesday. Because they're probably going to lose to Buffalo on Monday, but we'll talk about that a little later. And if they lose, then they're 3-5. Are they going to make a move and waste this season? I mean, this was supposed to be a run to a possible title this year for them, but that's a whole nother subject. We'll get to that a little later in the show.
Right. Now, here's the one that I'm going to be interesting. I know it's not the most exciting, but the game I'm looking forward to seeing, even though it's not a big one, is the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I know both of the teams are under 500. I get that. But since Carolina beat Tampa Bay and Carolina's like 3 games below 500 and Atlanta's like 1 game under 500, it should be an interesting game. It should be interesting.
Well, but the Panthers are coming off that big win, and they seem to believe in Paul Walker. And, Deontay Foreman did have 100 yards rushing on Sunday, and DJ Moore has come to life. Maybe it was a quarterback issue. Who knows? And then, the defense, if you give it a little bit of love on the offense, seems to play solid for Carolina. The defense isn't that bad. Where Atlanta, they got blown out last week, but they handled San Francisco the week before. And I think there's a picture of Kyle Pitts on a bunch of milk cartons throughout the country because, man, for all his stats he put up last year, there's none this year. The man is missing. He's missing this year. I'm going to go Carolina. I think they've got maybe this is a little bit of a rebirth here. We'll see.
Right. And of course, like you were saying, like there's no Baker Mayfield. So that's like a whole different, it's like a totally different Carolina Panthers team since Baker Mayfield's not even the starter.
Think about this. Paul Walker starting and Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold are both on the bench. Think about that.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
That's pretty sure they drafted a quarterback this draft.
Now, here's another one. This is because Fox is doing a doubleheader one, so they're going to be playing the Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys, which will be shown here on, if you're living in the Metro Detroit area, they'll be showing that game as well. So the Bears coming off that win against the Patriots on Monday night, and the Cowboys beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday. So this one looks to me like this is like very more important for the Bears because even though the Patriots suck, let's be honest. So the Bears, they're 1 game under 500, and the Cowboys, they're like 3rd in the NFC East because it's very tight. But what's your take on that?
I don't think that the Cowboys should underestimate the Bears. And let me say this also, that the Cowboys did not exactly play good on Sunday against the Lions. Yes, the score read 24-6, but that game was 10-6 until that way past the halfway point in the 4th quarter. And if the Lions didn't have a fumble at the 1 yard line, the Lions would have been up with about like 7 minutes left in the game. Okay? The Cowboys have a good defense, but I'm not sold on that offense. I'm not sold, and the Bears have a better defense than the Lions. Yes, you traded Robert Quinn this week. I don't know how much of an effect that'll have on the Bears' defense, but Justin Fields came to life last week. Now, I think the Cowboys have a better defense than the Patriots, but I think this is going to be an ugly 20-16 kind of a game. I'll say this, the first team to score into the 20s probably wins.
So that was
I don't.
Fox early
I
game for the
don't think you're
doubleheader.
going to
Go
see.
ahead.
I don't think you're going to see anybody with any kind of big fantasy stats in this game. And if you do, it'll probably end up being CD Lamb.
That's the only person I could think of for that Cowboys. And then if somebody
I
has
don't.
from the Bears, who do you think will have a lot of fantasy points, in your opinion?
I don't. I
Okay.
think. I think if anybody, maybe David Montgomery, but I mean,
He's iffy in fantasy.
you never know. But like I said, first team to 20 wins.
Gotcha. Now here's a CBS game of the week because they're doing a single header. This game of the week, Jim Nance and Tony Romo, they're going to be calling the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles game. That's a 1 o'clock game because the Eagles are undefeated, and Pittsburgh, of course, because you did say before the show even the season even started, because you said like the Steelers don't have no running game, they have no wide receivers. Uh, T.J. Watt is injured. You know what I mean? But it's hard for me to see Steelers can beat the Eagles because the Eagles are just a better team than the Steelers.
Yeah, I don't see the Steelers winning this game. Um, if I was the Steelers, I'd be probably trying to get Pat Fryermuth involved with Kenny Pickett. They're not going to be able to run the ball on the Eagles. Probably won't be able to pass the ball. I can see this being a rough day for Kenny Pickett. As for the Eagles, um, they'll figure it out. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to blow the Steelers out, but I mean, they should be able to win this game. You know, by at least a touchdown.
Gotcha. Now here's another one: the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. Now, in this game, the Patriots are on a winning streak against the Jets. So this is like their 12th straight against the Jets. So if the Patriots were to win against the Jets, it would be their 13th streak. So the big question will be is will the Patriots will be able to keep that streak going? And I was like, it's hard for me to even say the Patriots going to beat the Jets because this game is at MetLife Stadium. Just to let you guys know about that. And I don't know how the Patriots going to stop Zach Wilson and their running game.
Well, let me say this. I think the Jets remember that game last year when the Patriots beat the living snot out of them, like 54-13. Um, I don't think they've forgotten. I think this Jets team is a lot better. And I think the Patriots got an issue with Mac Jones. And I guess they're going to start him on Sunday, but you're trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but it just hasn't worked out. And I think the Jets are clicking right now. The Jets are clicking. I mean, did the Patriots just overlook the Bears last week? I mean, I don't know. It was ugly. And I think the Jets are a better football team than the Bears. Um, I'm going to take the Jets. I'm going to take the
So it
Jets in
looks
this
like
game.
since you
In a tough, grinded out, physical kind of a game.
so if the Jets win, then they end the New England Patriots streak. So that'll be very interesting. Then of
So,
course you have go ahead.
yep, I just think I just think it's time for. I think I'm gonna take the Jets in a close one.
All right. Then next one we have the New York Football Giants against the Seattle Seahawks. Now this game is at Seattle. You know what I mean? And whoever thought, like I said, the Seattle Seahawks would be first in the NFC West, and the Giants are 6-1. Whoever thought they would be 6-1 right now? But the real question is, what will Saquon Barkley do, and Cade Walker from Seattle will do? Because that's going to be a really great game. And what will Geno Smith will do? Because he's like a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football.
I mean, if I knew DK Metcalf was 100% healthy, I think it would make things a little easier for me to pick this game. But I don't know if he's going to play Sunday or not. And if this game was in New York, I think I would definitely pick the Giants. But because it's in Seattle, I think it's kind of a toss-up.
It should be a competitive game if you look at it.
I think it's going to be competitive. I'm going to take Seattle just because it's in Seattle.
Gotcha. As always, because when you think of the Seahawks playing at home, you always think like more likely they're going to win. But this is not the same Seahawks team that it was like 8-9 years ago.
Yep. I'm going to take Seattle on a close one.
All right. Now here's another one. So that was one of three for Fox. Now the second one for the 425 game is the Washington Commanders and the Indianapolis Colts. Now what's interesting about the Indianapolis Colts is Matt Ryan is going to be benched. And right now, like I said, they're 3-1, and this game is at Indianapolis. So when you look at the Colts, it's like the head coach and the GM, their job is on the line, because if they were to lose this game against Washington, I don't even know if they're even going to be back after this game. That's the real question.
I think that team's been banged up by some injuries. And let's start with the Colts. You lost your quarterback. Your offensive line is trash. The Colts are kind of in a little bit of transition here. I don't think the GM or that head coach are going to lose their jobs. I don't see that in Indianapolis. I just think that team's in a transition year, and they'll get that offensive line fixed through free agency or something, and you'll probably end up seeing them possibly get a quarterback in the draft because Matt Ryan's not the answer, and that's why they're going to throw Sam Ehlinger out there to see what he has. I don't know if he is it, but, this was a transition year. 1 year of Matt Ryan. You're going to probably go out there and get a quarterback in the draft and roll with it. I think that was kind of the plan anyway.
And for those who don't know what Sam Ehlinger is, he's from Texas, by the way. He got drafted in the 6th round, 218.
So, I mean, you're going to see what the kid has, and if he doesn't, then, you go draft a first-round quarterback in a quarterback-heavy draft and see what you can do. And if you can't get a quarterback, then you go get another vet, or you stick with Matt Ryan and roll with it. But you need to develop that offensive line because that team can't run the ball.
Especially got John Taylor.
Yeah, you got Jonathan Taylor, but you can't run the ball because that offensive line. You can pass it, but you can't run it. And then for the Commanders, let me just go ahead and say this. Carson Wentz shouldn't have been the starter from day one. Tyler, I've said this. I know I said it last week that the Commanders had a chance because of Tyler Heineke. If you would have put Carson Wentz in that game against the Packers last week, there's no way in hell that the Commanders would have won that game. None. But Heineke's a better quarterback than Wentz. And you know what? Washington might end up winning 6 or 7 games if they leave Heineke out there. He's a better quarterback than people want to give him credit for. I mean, he's better than Carson Wentz. I know. And honestly, I have no idea why the hell Washington even traded for Carson Wentz in the first place. They gave the Colts a gift, 2/3, and then the Colts sent 1/3 to Atlanta and got Matt Ryan. Man, that was like a steal. That was like a thank you. Carson Wentz has just lost it. And now the Commanders are tied to that contract for like another 3 years. Allegedly, Daniel Snyder was behind that and greenlit that and forced it to happen. But the
Man,
Redskins, Terry McLaurin, he kind of had a resurgence last week, with Heineke. Him and Heineke seem to have that connection. Antonio Gibson looked pretty good last week. So I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go with the Commanders just because Ellinger's out there, and I don't really know much about him. I saw
right,
him in college, but
right.
I'm gonna
Texas.
go. I'm gonna take the Commanders because they've got a good defensive line, and that Colts offensive line isn't that good. So give me the Commanders in a close one.
Now, most of us will see the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams, which we played here, of course, especially Matt Stafford with the Rams. Now, the Rams are coming off a bye week, and the 49ers are coming off that loss against Kansas City last week. Of course, the Chiefs put a butt whooping. Now, the issue is, well, for San Francisco, they already got a running back, Chris McCaffrey. And then with the Rams, their defense got holes. They don't have a running game, as we said before, because we don't even know who's going to be like the number one running back for the Rams. And this game is in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? So,
Well,
what
I'm
do you
gonna say
see
that.
between these? Go ahead.
What I'm gonna say is this: Cam Akers ain't playing. They're trying to trade him. I really not a lot of value there. The Rams' problem is like we've touched on is that offensive line. The offensive line is the problem, and I think San Francisco is just too physical for the Rams, and they're going to get to Matt Stafford a lot. Where on the other side of the ball, I think the 49ers are going to be too physical for the Rams. And it'll be close early, but as the game goes on, I think the wear and tear of the game will show. And I like the 49ers, to pull away in the fourth and win it. And the Rams probably get about 50 yards rushing from Darrell Henderson. And Cooper Kupp will get his, a touchdown and like 100-something yards and 10 catches or something. Then everybody else probably won't do jack crap.
Gotcha.
And then
And
McCaffrey,
then,
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see with him being the man now what happens. So we shall see.
right. So we got Sunday Night Football. It's the Green Bay Packers. They're heading to Buffalo. And this one, I'm really worried about the Packers in this situation because with the Packers can Buffalo really stop Josh Allen and the running game for the Bills? And then Aaron Rodgers, I don't know who he's going to even throw it to for like wide receivers. And they got to start running the football, as you just mentioned a couple of shows ago.
Well, here's the thing. It looks like Alan Lazard isn't going to play Sunday. Randall Cobb isn't going to play Sunday. So what do you got? Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and Sammy Watkins. Yeah, that's going to really frighten the Bills. And you got Robert Tonyan, who might be the best weapon other than Aaron Jones on that field. The Packers are in the bottom 5 of stopping the run. And then you got to deal with the passing game and Josh Allen. And you're going to Buffalo, and those fans are going to be geeked, and it's Sunday night. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to play like the game of his life to pull a W, and I just don't see it happening. And the Packers
And
are
plus,
3 and
Buffalo
4.
lives near the water.
And the Packers are 3 and 4, and most likely going to be 3 and 5 after Sunday. So if they're 3 and 5, then as what I brought up earlier, do you make a move? Do you make a move knowing that you got the Lions the following week, and you'll probably go to 4 and 5, and the schedule gets a little easier? do you make a move and try to bolster this team? If you're the Packers, you got to be thinking, how can we get better at defending the run? How can we improve the offensive line a little bit? And we need some type of wide receiver to step in. And if we're not going to trade for somebody, then do we have any cap space to go sign Odell Beckham Jr. or Will Fuller? Problem is, both of these guys are kind of injury prone, but they're talented. I mean, the Packers traditionally do not make trades at the deadline. And being most likely 3-5, I don't know if you're going to see them make a trade either. And I don't think that marriage between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers is all that strong. I know that he signed a 4-year, $200 million deal, but in a way, I think the Packers were somewhat forced into it. And maybe they regret not trading him to the Broncos. Because look at what the Broncos paid for Russell Wilson. I mean, the Packers could have got a lot more. And they could have finally seen what, Jordan Love had. And you would have had all those extra picks. You probably would have been in all that free cap space. Probably could have shored up all your weaknesses on defense and got you might have been able to keep Devontae Adams and add another wide receiver piece. But, I mean, right now, Packers can't stop the run. And the offense, other than Aaron Jones, doesn't really look like it's doing anything. I mean, if Aaron Jones doesn't play Sunday against the Commanders, the Packers offense would have been pretty inept.
Gotcha.
I'll take Buffalo. They're going to need a miracle Sunday to beat Buffalo, and Jesus ain't going to be at the game. So I'll take Buffalo.
And that's one of my quarterbacks. Now, my other quarterback is Joe Burrow, as the Bengals will head to Cleveland. And I don't know when the last time this rivalry has been nationally televised, because usually that'll be like a regional game. But this game, it will be on Monday Night Football. So it's an 8:15 game on ESPN. By the way, so if you live on those areas, check your local listings for that game to be played. By the way, so I'm looking at the Bengals. Of course, you got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Higgins.
Jamar Chase is out for 4 to 6 weeks.
He's out.
He is out for 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah, just came out like 2 hours ago. Jamar Chase is out for 4 to 6 weeks. So we got go get Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Time to go make some moves. That's helpful to the Browns. Joe Mixon's going to have to step up. The Bengals, like I said, have played better football since their 0-2 start. Then you got the Browns. Besides the Cleveland game, every game that they lost, besides the New England game, has been pretty close. They should have won the game against the Jets. They probably should have won the game against the Chargers. It's got to be another game or two in there that they probably should have won. Realistically, the Browns should be 4-3 or 5-2 right now, and they're not. They're not a bad team. They've just seemed to blow games late.
Right.
But this is kind of the big rivalry game, and it's in Cleveland. And Nick Chubb is probably going to get his against the Bengals. They don't have Jamar Chase. I'm going to take the Browns here in a close one. It's just a feeling. It's a feeling. Just got a feeling that the Browns need this one more than the Bengals. Because, if the Browns lose this game after getting screwed over on Sunday, which they kind of were, this is their season. They're 2-5. they don't
And
win
for
this,
those,
they go to two. They go to 2-6, right?
you are absolutely right. Right.
So
If
this
the
is a
Browns don't
must
lose
win.
this game,
This is a must win for the Browns.
and right
This
now,
game means more to the Browns. This is going to show you whether or not the Browns have packed it in or not.
and by the
They're
way, for those,
probably the best 2-5 team in the league. I will say that.
gotcha. And for those of you that don't know about this rivalry, it's the Battle of Ohio, and right now the Browns are on the 4 game winning streak between this rivalry. So just in case you guys didn't know about that, so the Browns on a 4 winning streak in this rivalry. So we got all the games away. So
No,
as
we
we're in week
forgot
8 of
one. No, we forgot
we got
one.
something.
Yeah, we forgot one.
Did you say which
We
one was it?
forgot
The Texas and the Houston game?
the worst team in the league. Who's the worst team in the league
Texans.
right now?
The Texans.
Nope.
The Lions. Let me guess. The Lions and the
Yeah,
Dolphins.
there you go. It's the Lions. It's the Lions and Dolphins on Sunday. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. You might as well just start Tyreek Hill, start Gesicki, start Jalen Waddle, start Raheem Mostert. Heck, but if you need a quarterback, go ahead and start Tua.
Right.
The cheetah is going to
Tua's been on
run
fire.
loose, I think, on Sunday. I want to see Jeff Okuda on Tyreek Hill and see what happens.
Right.
I mean, it's the cheetah. As for the Lions, this offense is just it's gone dormant. And ever since this team blew a 10-point lead against the Vikings, it's just gone into a cold storm and it hasn't recovered. And over the last couple weeks, it has been the worst team in the league. And I do not see them winning this game Sunday against the Dolphins. And I mean, how many winnable games are left? I don't know. And you might as well sell and trade who you can off of this team before Tuesday's deadline. Like TJ Hawkinson, I think he's a prime candidate for a trade. Jamal Williams, Mike Hughes. You know, anybody who's on the last year of a contract, I think is tradable on this team. I got a feeling that the Lions are going to be trading some players before Tuesday. It's going to be a house cleaning on Tuesday, folks. And we'll see Alex Anzalone. He could be a guy that could be traded for like a 6th-round pick for a 7th. Hawkinson for like a 4th. You know, DJ Chark, if he was healthy, could have probably got something minor. Mike Hughes, you know, some of these corners maybe that just haven't panned out could be traded. You know, maybe it's just hasn't worked out. You know, and the Lions could use some linebackers, though. Who knows? Maybe we trade a player for a player in a minor deal. You know, they get some. We'll see. It's not good. But, I mean, is DeAndre Swift going to start? Who knows? That dude just can't stay healthy. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown going to play? Who knows? Josh Reynolds, who knows? Cowboys secondary is pretty good. I don't think this is going to be a very friendly game for the Lions. So, and it's on the road, I believe. So I'll take the Dolphins.
Now, is that all the games we covered for the NFL? As before we
I
move
believe
to
that's all the games. So let's go ahead and get to college here. Let's just start with the two biggest games in the weekend, and they're both in the Big Ten. Let's start with Ohio State, Penn State. You
that's a noon
know,
game. That's a Fox game.
Penn State has come back from the thrashing against Michigan, and they beat the snot out of Minnesota. And Ohio State hasn't really played anybody this season. This is like their first real test. And Ohio and Penn State's got a pretty good secondary. Okay. And the real question is can Penn State's offense move the ball, and how good or bad will that defensive line be in terms of stopping the run against Ohio State? Where Ohio State, I mean, they look improved defensively compared to a year ago, but they haven't played anybody. And offensively, we know they can throw the ball, and they have the most talented wide receiver group in the country. You know, I'm not sold on C.J. Stroud because you're doing all your work against a lot of, you know, you got the best receiving core in the country. You haven't proven nothing to me. When the talent kind of evens itself out on both sides, then, you know, then I'll know if you are really that good or you're just a product of the environment, which it seems every Ohio State quarterback is. I mean, Ohio State's like a 14-point favorite. I mean, this is a road game. They should win. But they got to go into Happy Valley, and that's not going to be an easy game. And I think that the Penn State secondary is good. And Ohio State's going to have to be able to run the ball to win that game a little bit to set up the pass. Penn State's not going to want to give up the big play on the run or on the pass, so they're going to force them to run. Question is how much will Ohio State be able to stick to the script knowing that they want all these big plays? I mean, Ohio State should win this game. It's on the road. I mean, if Penn State can get inspired, who knows? You know, a fluke play here and there, and who knows?
Right.
I mean, I'll take Ohio State for the win. I wouldn't be shocked if there was some kind of major upset of some super close score. But, I mean, that's about the only way Penn State would win this game. Kind of like the 2016 game with the field goal block that got ran back for a touchdown. You know, something like that would need to happen. James Franklin usually figures out a way to trick and choke against the bigger, better teams. So let's get to the Michigan State game.
I'm ready to say that because Michigan State is actually faced against a Wolverines team that's like 10th in scoring offense and the 7th best rushing attack for almost like.
So I'm going to say this. The weather's supposed to be 60 degrees on Saturday, no rain in sight. And it's not going to be – it's supposed to be good weather. The only way that Michigan State's got a chance is because of the Shawn McDonough curse, which Michigan has when he announces their games. And if that doesn't come into effect, then Michigan should probably blow them out.
Okay.
Should. You know, because Minnesota, I mean, it's going to really come down to Michigan State. Like, you know, I mean, Tuck is 2-0. It seems they have Michigan's number. So they're going to have to run the ball, do a lot of grinding. They're going to have to control the time of possession. You might have to put a trick play or two in there to generate some things and just have the ball bounce their way in certain things. Michigan is the better team, but that's why you play the game on Sundays. I would love for a 60-0 blowout, but this is a rivalry game. Anything can happen.
And by the way, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit is calling the Kentucky and Tennessee game on ESPN. Just letting you guys know about that. So,
hey, that should be a great game. Two top quarterbacks, two very good teams. That game's at Kentucky, right?
that is correct. It's actually Tennessee.
Is it at Tennessee?
Yeah, it's at Tennessee.
Okay, so next week's Tennessee game against Georgia's at Georgia. Oof.
I can't wait for that game. That's going to be
Man.
fire.
You got to think Tennessee will get the win here, but don't underestimate Kentucky. Kentucky is definitely a good team. I'll take Tennessee. They've had a week now to decompress since that win against Alabama, and they blew out a scrub last week. They probably just overlooked them anyways, and we're looking forward to this game. As long as they're not overlooking them for the Georgia matchup. So I'll take Tennessee, but a little closer than people think. I think a touchdown, 7 to 10 points. But I think Kentucky will hang in it for the most part.
And as of right now, 24th ranked North Carolina State is facing Virginia Tech. So it's 8:53 left in the first quarter, no score. And then also we have 14th ranked Utah. They're facing Washington State at 10 o'clock tonight.
Well, I'm going to say this, that Clemson needs North Carolina State to keep winning, just like they need Syracuse to keep winning. Because I think Clemson's a fraud. And I've been saying this, the ACC is a fraud. I've been saying it. We'll see how right I am.
Then we did.
Clemson's probably going to run the show and go undefeated, and then they'll probably make the college football playoff, and then whoever they play against, they're going to get smoked. So I am not impressed by Clemson at all. I don't care that they're undefeated. Not impressed.
Then, of course, you got 16th ranked Syracuse will face Notre Dame. That's a noon game.
Like I've been saying, Clemson needs Syracuse to win out.
Then the next one, you have 7th ranked TCU against, they're heading to West Virginia. That's a noon game as well.
Well, you know what? Going to Morgantown. Hey, TCU should win that game, but guess what? Going to Morgantown. We'll see on the road, but they should win that game.
Right. Because the only ranked team right now in that conference, TCU will face is like Texas. And then if they beat Texas, they should have no problem being undefeated and winning.
Well, TCU will beat Texas just because Mr. 5-7 is the head coach. But what I say, Mr. 5-7 will figure out a way to blow winnable games.
Okay. 9th ranked Oklahoma State will face Kansas State, 22nd ranked Kansas State.
Should be an offensively entertaining game.
And no defense.
That one can go either way.
20th ranked Cincinnati will facing University of Central Florida. That's UCF.
Well, Cincinnati should win that game.
Okay. This should be a blowout. 8th ranked Oregon will face California. That's a 3:30 game.
Yeah, well, they're too busy protesting at Cal Berkeley, so give me Oregon.
Exactly. 10th ranked Wake Forest will face Louisville. Is at Louisville.
Wake Forest should win that game. They definitely got good offense, like I keep saying. Clemson needs Wake Forest and North Carolina State to keep winning.
Then Georgia will host Florida.
The greatest cocktail party in the world. Not as great as it used to be.
Right.
Because they've taken some of the booze away.
It's stupid.
I mean, Georgia's a 22-point favorite.
Wow. I don't think they'll
Well, they
cover
are.
that number.
I mean, it's the rivalry game.
Right. But I don't know if they're going to beat them by 22. Georgia should win, but not. I don't know about the 22 and a half.
I mean, I think they'll win by 2 touchdowns. I don't know, by at least 2 touchdowns. I don't know about 3 touchdowns, but who
Right.
knows?
We both agree on that part. Then you got 17th ranked Illinois will face they're held to Nebraska. That's a 3:30 game.
I think that's a trap game for Illinois. Illinois should win that game, but it's on the road at Nebraska. Nebraska, I think it's a trap game. I think Illinois should win, but I won't be shocked if it's a trap game. I mean, this is kind of Nebraska's Super Bowl, I guess, and Nebraska needs to get this win to still stay in the Big Ten West hunt, I guess, if you want to say.
Gotcha.
I mean, let me just say this about the Big Ten West.
Sure.
There's a way for all 7 teams right now to finish 4-5 in that conference. All 7 teams could finish 4-5 with Northwestern winning the conference based on best head-to-head record between the 7 teams. So you could have a 4-8 Northwestern team overall win the conference, win the Big Ten West. That's how bad the Big Ten West is right now. I think it's incredible what Illinois has done under Brett Bielema. He should have probably never left the Big Ten or left Wisconsin, but he wanted to have a challenge at Arkansas, and things didn't work out. And he came back to the Big Ten and is doing things his way. And he fits that Big Ten West profile perfectly. And he's doing some magic at Illinois. Got a transfer quarterback who's doing good. I mean, they should win that game Sunday. I mean, I'll pick Illinois, but I could see a trap game.
Next one, you have 25th ranked South Carolina will face Missouri. As a matter of fact, South Carolina is hosting that game.
I'll take South Carolina. Missouri's bad.
10th ranked USC will head to Arizona. That's a 7 o'clock game.
I'll take USC.
Then, of course, 15th ranked Mississippi will head to Texas A&M.
Texas A&M having a lot of issues right now, and Ole Miss lost bad to LSU last week. I want to give some props to LSU. That's a team that went through a major rebuild, and I know we make fun of Brian Kelly a lot, but, since that, if you take away the Florida State game, which they probably should have won.
I agree.
And you take away the one other loss that they had this year, which was it Georgia? Or no, it was Tennessee. You take away the Tennessee game where they got blown out, and you take away the Florida State game, they're undefeated if you take away those 2 games. And they had a lot of transfers, and, when Ed Orgeron and that left, that was kind of a big mess down there. And he's had to rebuild that program pretty quickly.
And they got to clean, and he had to clean that mess up.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that rebuild's a little bit ahead of schedule compared to what we thought. Right. Last week was a big win for that program. I didn't see that one coming last week. I don't think anybody did, other than LSU. Because Ole Miss was undefeated, and so I think LSU's got a chance.
Gotcha. Now the next one, 21st ranked North Carolina will face Pitt.
Once again, North Carolina, 1 loss. Clemson needs them to win games. Who have they beat? Like I said, the ACC is weak. There's no defense in that league. I mean, like I said, these teams are going to play each other and beat each other up, and everybody's going to beat each other up, and Clemson's going to sit there undefeated. And the next best team in that conference is going to probably have 2 or 3 losses. Like I said, I'm not impressed. I mean, I saw Tennessee play a very close game against Pitt this year at Pitt, and I don't know what's happened to Pitt since.
They've fallen down a cliff, something
You
like that.
know, and North Carolina has a good offense, but man, they got no defense.
They
I mean,
do give up
I'll take
the
North Carolina in a shootout, but like I said, not impressed with the ACC.
and then of course you have 12th ranked UCLA. This game is at UCLA. They'll face Stanford. UCLA is 12th, by the way. That's a 10. That's a late game. That's a 12:30 game.
I'll take UCLA. I mean, Stanford is bad, and they beat a bad Notre Dame team. I'll take UCLA.
And it looks to me like Stanford is so bad they need to start all over. And I don't know what David Shaw's next plan is after this season.
Well, that win against Notre Dame might have been a saver, but we'll see how the season goes on.
Right.
Riding the coattails of Jim Harbaugh, and since then, Stanford's gone downhill.
Right. Because they used to give USC trouble, if you remember.
Like I said, rode the coattails of Jim Harbaugh, and since then, when Harbaugh left, Stanford had a plethora of talent, and it's just gone downhill since. If you look at Stanford since Jim Harbaugh left, I'd be willing to bet it's just been a downward trend for the most part.
Gotcha. And by the way, we have 3 more minutes, so let's do the super draft. By the way,
Super
with the player
draft.
product, and you could also do it with Super Draft Pro. By the way, so here in Michigan, so if you live in
Super
Michigan,
draft.
so if you live in Michigan, you can finally play the player props on Super Draft. So just letting you guys know about that. So I'm happy with that. All right, so let's start on with the first one. Lamar Jackson, 213 and a half passing yards.
I'll take the under.
Okay. Next one, Gus Edwards, 48 and a half rushing yards.
If he can stay healthy, I'll take the over.
Okay. Tom Brady, 285 and a half passing yards.
I'll take the over.
Exactly, especially with Baltimore's passing defense is trash. Leonard Fournette, 52 and a half rushing yards.
I'll take the over.
And then finally, Mike Evans, 70 and a half receiving yards.
I'll take the over. It's probably the easiest one as long as he stays healthy.
All right. So we got that out the way. So here's another one. This is the NBA game. This is the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green, 6.5 rebounds.
Sure, why not? Over.
Stephon Curry, 5 rebounds.
Sure, why not?
Andrew Wiggins, 2 3-pointers made.
I'll take the under.
Jordan Poole, 16 and a half points.
Take the over.
And then Klay Thompson, 0.5 steals.
You only need one. Sure.
Exactly. And then we got baseball. They finally got the player props for baseball. So this is game 1 of the World Series, and Friday game is 8:03. Chase McCormick, 0.5 bases.
He starts, sure, why not?
Okay.
You only need a walk.
Starting pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, Aaron Nola, 5.5 strikeouts.
I'll go with the over.
Okay. Bryce Harper, 1.5 bases.
All you need is a double. Sure, why not?
Okay. And then Trey Mancini, did I get his name right? The left fielder
Yep.
for Houston? Okay. 0.5 bases.
All you need is a walk. When you get 0.5 bases, as long as you're starting.
Exactly. And you know how Houston is when it comes to batting and pitching. That
Yeah.
should be.
I mean, the Astros, real quick, now that we have this matchup, the Astros are favored in this World Series. They got the better starting pitching overall. The Phillies might have a better bullpen, but we'll see. I mean, the Phillies might have a little bit of an advantage with the hitting, but it's not minor. But the starting pitching is definitely an advantage for Houston. You got the best pitcher in baseball right now, in Justin Verlander, if he can live true to form. I like the Astros in this series in 6. We'll see.
So 1 and 2 is Friday and
Whoever has the
Saturday.
better pitching will win this series.
Gotcha. So Friday and Saturday is 1 and 2, and then
And
Monday,
Tuesday,
Tuesday, Wednesday is 3, 4, and 5.
yep. So
Which is very weird.
Friday, Saturday, game 1 and 2. No baseball on Sunday because they're competing with Sunday Night Football. Then game 3, 4, and 5 is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then no baseball because of Thursday Night Football, and then game 6 and 7 would be Friday and Saturday next week.
Well, there's nothing on Friday, but Saturday definitely for college football.
Yeah,
a fight. So,
yep,
it makes sense.
This is the Astros in 6.
And this is the first World Series that Joe Buck is not going to call. It's Joe Davis.
Oh, thank God.
Well, I have one friend that likes Joe Buck. I don't like him personally.
Well, you may need to have a talk with him.
I actually got his phone number.
well, you need to counsel him and have a talk.
Okay. Would you like to be in it? Just have a conversation with him?
If he needs some serious help, sure.
Okay. Not no Dr. Phil type.
Well, you never know. Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, Dr. Shawn, who knows?
Okay. All right. So that is it. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to be watching Thursday Night Football. And also on Thursday Night Football, you can either watch it on Amazon Prime or on Twitch. So just in case you guys didn't know about that, I didn't even know the game was on Twitch anyway, but I watched it. So we will see you guys on Tuesday for possibly a guest. So, and also go on to our website, sportsamerica.com, for the Super Draft Pro DFS lineup, because I have like the champion, the co-champion, and then like the flex. So go onto our website, sportsamerica.com, and you'll see Super Draft Pro DFS as well. So take a look at that article, and you can also look that up for Sunday as well. All right. So we will see you guys Tuesday. You guys have a nice and wonderful weekend. Take care.
Peace.